Good morning, buddy. Hopefully you had a wonderful weekend, and we got kind of an entertaining coaching call today. I think you'll like the last three quarters of the call because lots of great ideas, and I think it'll. Last week we were talking about short stories, so I'm going to give you a ton of easy doodles that are perfect for short stories. But before that, we got some basic information here. One is that Missy and Tricia worked hard to get the FIA presentation updated. So we now have the 2018 numbers in there, and you can see since last year, in 2018, it was down 6. The graph looks even what? Better or worse? The numbers look even better or worse? Now, we don't promote the fact that an FIA beats the market, but over the last 20 years, what has the FIA done? Yeah. So anybody that would put their guaranteed money in a bond, what would you call that person? Yeah, exactly. Uninformed. I would I agree with that. And then we've also updated for the healthcare wealth and income seminar, the slide for the lifelong term care hybrid there. So thank you, Missy and Trish, for doing that. So 5Q tape breakdown last week was, here's a snippet of an advisor doing a terrific job of motivational interviewing. So if you want to listen to how it's done in the field, that'd be a great tape to go back and listen to. Steve Jobs, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Cuban, Bezos, they're all what? Yeah, rich beyond belief, right? Rich beyond belief. But they all actually follow the rules of Stoicism. So it's, and again, not Steve Jobs doesn't anymore, but the rest still follow the rules of Stoicism, or the ethos of Stoicism. So what Stoicism means is, we'll take a look at the way that they dress first of all. How much money do they spend on clothes? Lots or hard? Have you ever seen Bill Gates in a suit? He's obviously bought that right off the rack. I've seen him in suits, and he bought it off the rack because it does not fit. It's a cheap suit. So now they all, well, not all. Bill Gates, Bezos, and Bezos has 3 or 4 big houses, and Cuban, they all have nice houses. But that's about it, because what kind of cars do they drive? Zuckerberg's another one. What kind of cars does he drive? Yeah, regular cars. So where do they put all their time and effort? Well, before we talk about, let's just talk about Warren Buffett for a second. He drives through the drive-through every morning for breakfast, and he will not spend more than $3.17 on breakfast. He still has his Nebraska home valued at $261,000. So, I mean, these guys, do they put their money into? Well, actually, Tom, you're right. What is the car? Tom brings up it's kind of an interesting tidbit. What is the car that's the number one car driven by multimillionaires? Tom already brought it up. What would you guess? Oh, you're all getting all sorts of. Yeah, it's a F-150. F-150 is the number one car for multimillionaires. Well, I have no clue, but that's an unusual fact. But so what Stoicism is they put all of their effort into the intellectual part of life, thinking, not buying crap. So Stoicism, it's inevitable that there was 9 straight traits to Stoicism, but one of them is, it's inevitable we're going to find ourselves in some real crappy situations, whether they're costly mistakes, unexpected failures, or unscrupulous enemies. Stoicism at its core is accepting and anticipating this in advance so that you don't freak out, react emotionally, and aggravate things further. Train our minds, consider the worst case scenarios, regulate our unhelpful instinctual responses. That's how we make sure crappy situations don't turn into fatal situations. I mean, these guys, remember we talked about 3 or 4 weeks ago? What do they do? What are their hobbies? Things that have intellectual, coding, bridge, reading. See, they're all, and how many of these people would you say are reactionary? Are they reactionary, or do they think everything out? So I just thought it interesting that the wealthiest people in the world have this same mentality of they're not looking to buy the biggest and they're not driving Lamborghinis, they're not driving Bentleys, they drive normal cars. All of their life is not to buy crap. Now they all, with the exception of Warren Buffett, they all had nice houses or have nice houses, but other than that, they don't spend their money on those kind of things. They spend, in fact, Bill Gates and Warren Buffett give billions of dollars away on a yearly basis. So they put their mind, or they put all their time and effort towards thinking. So Stoic discipline is just getting better and thinking is their primary emphasis. And Socrates was also a Stoic, and he says, "As for me, all I know is that I know nothing." And Einstein said the exact same thing. So would you say Socrates and Einstein bright guys, or middle of the road guys? Pretty darn bright, right? Probably some of the brightest guys that have ever walked the earth. And they both said, in one shape, form, or another, that that geniuses know they know nothing. Geniuses know they know nothing. So Stoics, they put learning above riches. Now, and here's the funny thing, though: the more you learn, it's counterintuitive. The more you learn, what happens? The richer you get. If you pursue riches and not brainiacs, brainiac activities, well, your riches are going to go down. If you pursue brainiac activities, your riches will go up, even though you're not pursuing them. So this is my little advertisement for guys. Constantly educate yourself. I saw this the other day where I was talking about a $3 trillion tsunami is about to flood the stock market, warns a fund manager. Now, anybody have an idea what that tsunami is? $3 trillion tsunami. Nobody's okay. Well, close, David. 48% of all outstanding commercial debt is coming due. 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23. Now, when it comes due, are they going to be able to pay that off? No. What are they going to have to do? Roll it. So this is commercial debt. We're not even talking about the problem with the qualified, the easement that the federal government did. This is corporate debt. So when they borrow and roll, what's going to happen? When they borrow and roll it, what's going to happen? Pay more, right, Mark? A little more or a lot more compared to what? I mean, back when they took this out, what were interest rates? Basically, diddly-do. So what's that going to do to corporate profits? Yeah. So that means corporate profits go down. And PEs right now, where are PEs? High or low? PEs are extremely high. And so if they have to roll and their earnings go down, what happens to the PE? Goes even what? PE, E's on the bottom. So what's going to happen? It's going to go higher. Is a high PE good or bad? Yeah. So PE will go even higher. There's all sorts. So the little correction we had in December, January, was that really was that the bear market? We're done. Now we have nothing but blue skies ahead? Or is there still a ton of problems in the market? I mean, do you know how many hours and how many things I could show you what's wrong with the market right now? I could talk for hours, not about one thing. I could talk for hours on lists of things that's wrong with the market right now. Now, the problem is, do we know when it's going to go? No. Remember, and this is the analogy I use. If you have a room, you have a shed out and back, okay? You have a shed out and back. It's full of years and years and years worth of newspaper, and you have a gas can out there. Does that mean that the shed is going to burn down? So you've got a wooden shed, old wooden shed, with tons of old newspaper in there, and a gas can. Does that mean it's going to burn down? No. But how much would it take to cause that market to go down, or that the shed to burn down? Just one spark. So if you had a metal shed, with no newspapers in there, and you had a gas can in there, how worried are you? Not very. So are we still at the beginning of a new bull market? Are we still well into an old and aging bull market? So there are lots of problems still in the marketplace. Do we know when it's going to go? No, but all it would take is one little spark. Here's another interesting thing. When they looked, why are phone numbers 7 digits? Because the average person can remember between 7 and 9 digits. So the average person can remember an average of 7 to 9 digits. But guess what they found out? With training, with training, there are guys. I can do this. I can memorize 82 digits because I've trained in memory or in mnemonics. But it requires some effort. But the human brain, without training, can only remember 7 to 9 digits. With mnemonics and training, you can easily get up to 300, 400, 500 digits, 500 digits of training. So there's ways to increase your memory if you train it. Here's another interesting thing, which is more instead of the intellectual, it's more on the artistic side. Here's these people's. This is how people drew when they went to art class. They had them draw portraits at the beginning of the art class. This is after 5 days training, just 5 days training. This is what their portraits look like. Big difference or not a big difference? Huge difference. So training can take you from average to hugely above average. I mean, multitudes above average very, very quickly. And I bring that up because I was talking to an advisor last week and it reminded me of this analogy. I don't think I've done it for a long time. People will tell me, hey, the scripts are hard, et cetera. And again, you guys have done a great job of learning the scripts, and I've told you that over and over the last couple of years, and you have done a great job. But here's the thing. If I took a fireman, how much does a fireman know about finances? A lot or virtually nothing? How much does he know about selling? A lot or virtually nothing? So what if I took him and I said, listen, I will pay you $500,000. I'll pay you $500,000 if you learn these 21 scripts. Now you have to ask yourself, would he and I'm going to give you 2 weeks to do it. I'll give you 2 weeks to learn these 21 scripts, and if you learn them, I will give you $500,000. So ask yourself, would he know it better than you? Would he know the 21-point checklist at the end of that 2 weeks better than you know it right now, or less than you know it right now? See, because what would he do? What would he do? Would he go to work for the next 2 weeks, or would he immediately take 2 weeks vacation? Would he say, oh my gosh, I got to watch a show where people are dancing, singing in a costume with their heads on or behind a mask? Is he going to say, I got to watch the game tonight? Is he going to say, I got to go watch the kids play volleyball tonight? What would his wife say about him saying, I'm going to go watch the kids play volleyball tonight? What would his wife say? No, you're not. I mean, she would lock him in the room, shove food under the door, and tell the kids, don't bother your dad for 2 weeks. So now, can you make $500,000 with the 21-point checklist scripts if you knew it backwards and forwards? No, you can't. You can make $2 million. And that's annually, not one time. This fireman's getting it one time. You could make it over and over and over and over again. So again, I'm just saying, look at what can happen when you train yourself. And look what can happen when somebody who's not trained can be trained in your industry. Make sense? Cool. Now let's get to the fun stuff. Picture paints 1,000 words. This book, Behavior Gap by Carl Richards, is a fun read. And he actually has a website, which is behaviorgap.com, and he basically shows how you can doodle and make a very good point. So remember last week we were talking about short stories. This is a short story, isn't it? Good advice, fun read. Where the two, this book is both good advice and a fun read. It's right here. So these are some of the drawings that relate to us with our customers and what you can and utilize these. So very simple drawing, investment return. This difference is behavior gap. So what's he mean by that? And there's been lots of studies that have shown that what? Do investors generally make over 5 years or 10 years, do investors generally make the same return? Even if they're in a mutual fund, will they make the mutual fund return? No, they make bad decisions. They get out when they shouldn't, and they get in when they shouldn't. It's very, very few people that do the right thing. In fact, we found, when we talked about Fidelity and Vanguard looking at their top investors over the last 5 to 10 years, what they find out? Who are their top investors? Geniuses? Who are their top investors? Out of the millions of people between Fidelity and Vanguard, they looked at millions of accounts. Who were the handful? Who were the 100, 150 investors that had the highest rate of returns? The geniuses? Yeah, Kevin's got it. Yep, Nicholas has got it. Yep, the people who forgot their accounts, right, Ronald? Yeah, the people who forgot their accounts, not geniuses. People who just left the accounts alone. But this kind of is a great way to demonstrate that very simply. Here's another one. Investment return, investor return, behavior gap. His point is what? It's getting bigger. The gap is getting bigger or smaller? It's bigger. And why is it getting bigger? More information. Is more information helping people or hurting people? It's hurting people because the more information they have, the more likely they are to get in or out of the market based on what the information they're getting. This is a great demonstration of why that's the case. When the market's been going up and up and up, everybody feels like they're missing out, so they all what? Buy. And then when the market goes down, what do? They are afraid, so they sell, and then you repeat until you're what? And has this really been what happened? When do record amounts of money go into the stock market? At the beginning or the end? At the highs, right? And when does record amount of money exit the stock market and go into and move to bonds? So they move to bonds right before bonds start to go down. So they just get hammered and hammered and hammered again. 5 years like this, 5 days like this, which means you should hold on for what? Should you worry about the 5 days? No. Look at the long term. Your values, your use of money, your happiness. I love this one. Things that matter, things you can control, what you should focus on. And do we use this in our workshops? We do. Why? Can you control interest rates? Can you control what the stock markets are going to do? Can you control the spark that will ignite that shed with all the paper and gasoline in it? We can't. We could control that maybe, but we can't control what's going to happen with the market, that spark in the market. So what we should focus on is what? The things we can control. What can we control when it comes to investments? What can we control when it comes to investments? Risk, right? Risk. Fees, yes, Nicholas, fees. Risk and fees. And you know what? When it comes to our clients, what are the two things that can give them the biggest bang for the buck? Lowering their risk and lowering their fees. Lowering the risk and lowering the fees, and the best way to do that is with an FIA. Big, fat, data-rich books. Important news and global news. Your personal financial plan. Where's the overlap? How much that's in the books and the websites and the news and the talking heads? How much of that really intercepts your personal financial plan? A lot or little? Almost none. Is this a short story, guys? This little drawing here. Yeah, it's a short story. Does it make a point to people? I love these little doodles he does because it's taking something very complicated and makes it very simple. Taxes you pay, taxes you could have paid, lack of planning. The difference is lack of planning. Weight of evidence, passive investing versus active investing. Where do you think he sits on index investing? Does he really care where you put your money? No. He's just saying that what? Weight of evidence. What do all the studies show? What does all the research show? And as much as these guys want to, I read article after article after article panning passive investing. When you look at the author at the bottom of the article, who is it? An economist, somebody who, a professor. Yeah, it's active managers. That's who's authoring it. Claims of risk management experience, your chance of losing money. So the more they claim, guys, this is a great drawing. Do I like it when a money manager says, listen. The way we manage funds is you're not going to get all the upside, but we'll protect you down from the downside because we've got a lot of experience in this. I hate that. And what this drawing is saying, the more they claim they have risk management experience, the higher the chance you're going to lose money. And why does that occur? Remember we just talked about Socrates and Einstein. What did they say? The more you know you don't know. So when somebody starts claiming that they've got risk experience and they know how to handle risk, that's somebody who is somebody you can trust or somebody who's dangerous. They're dangerous because they're saying, I don't know. Because when it comes to risk, how many things can sink an investment? How many things can sink an investment? Yes, basically unlimited things can sink an investment, right? Because we don't know. Does anybody ever know what's going to cause the market to tank? Has it ever been the same thing? Has the same thing ever caused the market to tank? Or is it always something different? It's always something different. And then any time Wall Street tries to put a Band-Aid on that, guess what? Terrific, there's a Band-Aid on it, but it has nothing to do with the next reason the market's going to go down. Investing based on past performance, driving while looking in the rearview mirror. Both of those things cause what? Lots of accidents. Future financial needs. Here's your perception of what you'll need. Here's the reality of what you need. What would make this circle so big? Healthcare. Good, David. Healthcare. Right, Ron. Healthcare. Lifetime return equals investment return plus investment behavior squared. What's the point he's making here? Lifetime return equals investment return plus investor behavior squared. What's his point here? Return's important or not making bad decisions is important? Return's important or not making bad decisions is important? Yeah, not making bad decisions is squared. It's way more important than return. Way more important. And the best behavior is both at the beginning and during, so the beginning is what? Set your portfolio up correctly and then do what? Keep jumping in and out of that decision, or just forget it. Set and forget. Never make a killing, never get killed. That's diverse. I think this is bloody genius, isn't it? This is bloody genius. Never make a killing, never get killed. That's diversification. That's 50-50 stocks and FIA right there. Are you ever going to make a killing with 50-50 stocks and FIA? Nope. Are you ever going to get killed with 50-50 stocks and FIA? Nope. I think this is a genius little drawing. Financial goals, plan to reach the goals, investments that fit your plan, and repeat. This fits the 5Q mentality because what do I think about financial planning software? See if how many of you guys, David's got it. Yeah, everybody's getting it. I hate it. Why do I hate it? I was the number one financial planning salesperson the first year I was with IDS in the state of Minnesota. Couldn't sell a financial product, but man, I could sell those financial plans like you couldn't believe. And then I finally figured out that they're crap. Why? Every single financial plan is crap. Every income plan is crap. Why? It's useless one day later, right? I have to assume a rate of inflation. I have to, and as soon as I put that in the program, that what happens to that rate of inflation? Or I'm sorry, to that printout? It's wrong. I have to put in a rate of return. The minute I put that rate of return into the portfolio, what happens? It's wrong. And we also know that, let's say I put 6% into the portfolio, or in the planning software. What's that worth? What if I put 6% in there, and for the next 10 years, return was 6%? What's that worth? I nailed it. I said it was going to be 6%, and over the next 10 years, it's 6%. What's that worth? Well, Tom's got it. Tom, why is that worth nothing? Why is that worth nothing? Yeah, it's not an even rate, Nicholas, right? Because if that's one of the things we show people, right? It's a sequence of returns. And with real money, does average rate of return mean anything when you use it with real money, where people will be taking money in and out? It means nothing. So what we do with the 21-point checklist is what? Do we ever predict anything for the future with the 21-point checklist? Do we ever pretend like we can see into the future? No, we don't. What we say is, we're going to put you in the exact best situation for where we are right now, and then next year when we have our annual review, guess what we're going to do? Repeat. We're going to, again, look at all of your situation and then put you in the exact best position for where we are right there and there. I'm not going to pretend like I can predict the future. I have no clue what's going to happen in the future. What I can do is put you in the exact best position for right now. Can we look somebody in the eye and tell them that we can do that? Yes. But if anybody looks a client in the eye and tells them that you can do the best thing for them over the next year, they're full of what? Baloney. Baloney. Cost of your mistakes, level of overconfidence. Awesome. The more you think you know, the more what? Costly it becomes. Comes right back to the old Socrates and Einstein, right? Smart people know they know nothing. Chance at least one will be right. Number of forecasts. So when passive investing over the last 10 years beats 95% of people, why is it? Because that 5% are geniuses? So when passive investing has beaten 95% of active money managers over the last 10 years, so that 5%, does that mean that 5% that beat the passive investing, does that mean that they're geniuses? Yeah. You know, we've talked about this before. If you play Russian roulette, if I have 1,000 people playing Russian roulette and they play it 100, they play it like 20 times, there'll still be a handful of people. There'll still be, out of 1,000, there'll still be a handful of people alive. So does that mean they're awesome Russian roulette players? They figured it out. Yeah, the numbers work out. They were just the lucky ones. Just the lucky ones. This is a great one too. Rethinking versus sticking with a good decision. Rethinking versus sticking with a good decision. Not normal. This is normal. So when the market was doing great up to the last year or so, was that normal? No, up and up and up and up. Was that normal for 8 years for the market to go up? That was not normal. This is normal. Investing done right, watching the grass grow. Both are boring, but both are what? Effective, right, Tom? Effective, Daniel. Exactly. So, guys, do you see? You could go on and on and on about this, but if you put, what kind of impact does this have on people when they look at this? Because you could talk and talk and talk and talk and make your case and make your case and make your case, but you see, a picture paints 1,000 words. Will they remember this little diagram? You could talk, you could make your point verbally for 45 minutes. But you draw this, talk about it for 2 minutes. What will they remember a month from now or a year from now? This. Advice from an algorithm, real life. Advice from a money manager, real life. Bonds, yield, risk. The higher the interest rate, the more the risk you're going to have. Effective, simplicity. The more simple it is, the more effective it's going to be. Why did we go with a 50-50 portfolio? Is that complicated? No, it's simple. The simpler it is, the more effective it is. Simple, though, does not mean easy. Simple does not mean easy. Why is a 50-50 portfolio not necessarily easy? It's simple, but not necessarily. Why is it not necessarily easy? Because when the market goes up, you have to explain to people what? Well, yeah, but the FIA only went up half as much. That's why you lag. And when the market goes down, you have to explain what? Well, I know half your portfolio is down, but that's why we have this guaranteed chunk over here. But is there any other portfolio where that you have a better chance of explaining that successfully in both ways, when the market's up or the market down? Explain to people if they have all the market in all their money in stocks and bonds, and are stocks and bonds, guys, are they correlated or not correlated? Do they act the same or the opposite? They're correlated. They don't act the opposite. How many years has it been since stocks and bonds act the opposite? Over 25 years. Over 25 years since stocks and bonds have acted the opposite. So they're very correlated. In fact, people that were in stocks and bonds in 2008, what happened to them? Were they diversified? What happened to people in 2008? They got killed. So simple is not easy, but simple. I mean, if you think about having all your money in stocks and bonds or having all your money in a guaranteed or a CD, either way, if the market goes up, you're going to have a hard time with the people that were in the CDs, and if the market goes down, you're going to have a hard time with the people that are in the stocks and bonds. Much harder than on either of those scenarios than if you have a 50-50 portfolio somewhere there around there. Increasing the amount you save, looking for the best investment, advice from your brother-in-law. So what's the most important thing? Putting more money away. When it comes to choosing the best investment, how important is that? And getting advice from your brother-in-law, that's what? That's actually not effective or negatively effective. Negative. Here's the noise, all the magazines, all the talking heads. There's the noise. There's the information. And here's the stuff that might be useful. I love this one. Because is everybody saying the same thing? All the talking heads, the magazines, etc. Or are they all saying all sorts of different things? And they're all what? They're all looking into what? The crystal what? Ball. So the stuff that's really useful in there is what? Very little. Because if any of this information here is based on past experience or looking into the future, what's it worth? Nothing. Results versus commitment to craft. This is for you guys. Guess what happens to your results when you commit to your craft? What's the one thing you would demonstrate with 5Q? What's the one thing that would demonstrate your commitment to craft? I want everybody to answer this. Kevin's got it. Nick has got it. Dave has got it. Okay. So Jonathan's got it. Phil's got it. the 15-minute drill. Guess how many 15-minute time periods there are on a day? Don't even have to guess. You can do the math. 96 15-minute periods per day. So let's just say, can we just round up to 100? So there's about 100, there's 96, or about 100 15-minute chunks of time a day. So that means you'd have to spend how much of your day to do a 15-minute drill? 1% of your day. 1% of your day. And so when I talk to guys and say, are you doing your 15-minute drill? And they tell me they don't have time, what's that tell me about their commitment to the craft? Yeah. So guys, the scripts are, and a lot of you guys said the 21-point checklist scripts. Yes, the 21-point checklist scripts are extremely important. But if you wanted to choose between being good at GOTS in the 15-minute drill or good at the scripts, which would make you the most money? Being good at GOTS, which is the 15-minute drill, or the scripts, which is going to make you more money? GOTS does. That's right, GOTS does, because it's teaching you to ask open-ended questions versus closed-ended questions. It's teaching you not to speak over the top of people. It's teaching you not to correct people. See, GOTS is what's going to get people to love you. It's going to get if you start using it with your wife, it's going to get her to love you more. Your kids, you're going to get them to do more and happily do more than you'd ever expected them to do before. The GOTS is what gets people to love you. It's becoming a better communicator. And if you're great at that, you'll never lose a case. People will never kick you out of their life. They will never, ever, ever stop talking to you, taking your phone calls, because they love you. You make them feel wonderful. And when you make them feel wonderful, people want to spend a lot of time around you. So GOTS is what makes you all the money. The problem with GOTS is I don't know when they're going to move it. They might move it at the first time I talk to them, the 10th time I talk to them, or the 100th time I talk to them. They'll let me talk to them 100 times, but GOTS doesn't get them to move the money. The scripts shortens the process. The scripts takes it from I don't know when I'm going to move the money to a 3 or 4 meeting process. But if you're awesome at the scripts and you're lousy at GOTS, guess what's going to happen? If you're awesome at the scripts and lousy at GOTS, guess what's going to happen? You're going to struggle. Struggle. But if you're awesome at GOTS and just okay with the scripts, guess what magically happens? Lots and lots of great things. So if you can't spend 1% of your day doing the 15-minute drill, holy cow, that's not a commitment to craft. How I want to spend my time, how I actually spend my time, painful opportunities to get better. I don't have 1% of my day to spend getting a little bit better at what I do. It didn't feel like much at the time, but massive improvement. Guess what these little steps are? 15-minute drill. Yep, 15-minute drill. 15-minute drill. What you think you can do and what you might be able to do. Get in over your head. Well, I tend to think this is the opposite. This is one drawing I don't agree with. Because I think what you think you can do and what you can actually do, I think this is what you can actually do. I don't think you guys give yourself credit for what you could accomplish if you just put your mind to it. Because you guys are bright. You guys know what you're doing. What it comes down to is what? Motivation, focus, commitments, right, consistency. So these are lots of great drawings for clients, but guess which one of these drawings is going to make you the most money? This one. I would draw this one right now and post it on your bathroom mirror so you see it every single day. But this guy, behaviorgap.com, he posts regular drawings there. It's worth visiting every once in a while because these drawings get people to understand concepts very, very quickly, and it helps them remember it. It's common sense. It's a short story, and we want to be telling people or having people understand complicated concepts in a way that they understand it and the way that they will remember it for a long period of time. So when you master your crib notes and motivation suites, you're doing your 15-minute drill because you have a commitment to your craft. And the 5-minute moneymaker, pay attention to those. They're only once a week. That's when you're going to close every client that you want. I hope you enjoyed the little doodles today, and you guys have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you all next Monday. Thanks, everybody.